Welcome back to episode 3. I post these every Friday, and if you've been enjoying these, please let me know in the comments below. I try and cover detailed topics throughout these episodes, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about who gets fibromyalgia. We're going to be covering these in 7 quick little bits. Hey, you want a tea? No thanks. I'll get some after.
I'll make a tea. Do you want a tea?
Just make for you.
Hey, what's today's topic?
The link between fibromyalgia and gender, age groups, autoimmune disorders, trauma, stress.
Okay. Can I maybe do one? Just one.
Sure. So let me do the first one and then.
I'll be good. I'm gonna sit here really quiet.
So number 1, age groups. Fibro can affect individuals of all ages, which doesn't help much to narrow it down. It's commonly diagnosed amongst adults, but it can also occur in teen years. It's mostly seen between the ages of 30 to 50. It can also occur in older adults, everybody, basically. What a useful first one, seriously. And it's super helpful because it suggests anyone. Moving on, because that was so informative. Do you want to do number 2? It's gender.
Sure. Okay, so it's women more than men, right?
Yeah.
So women are more likely to develop fibromyalgia. Women are twice as likely to develop fibromyalgia than men. Women have more hormonal fluctuations, more hormonal changes than men, and the potential for higher stress due to like menstrual periods, menopause, or pregnancy. Is that okay?
That was good.
Next up is family history.
So number 3, family history. So there appears to be a genetic component linked between people who have fibromyalgia, who have family members that also have fibromyalgia, whereas people who don't have family members with fibromyalgia seem to be less likely to have it or be diagnosed. I don't know if it's because people don't think to see a doctor to get that diagnosis, and if maybe just having a family member with fibromyalgia makes you more aware of it and you might actually consider seeing a doctor about it. But that is what the research indicates. So if you have a family member with fibromyalgia, you have some of the symptoms as I've covered in episode 2, then maybe worth a shot, having it checked out. Full disclosure, again, this is just a very kind reminder that I'm not a medical professional. I'm purely speaking from my own experience. So this is just me researching and sharing some information. Just needed to put that out there again.
I'm gonna go cuddle friends.
So number 4 is other rheumatoid conditions. Evidence suggests individuals with other rheumatoid conditions, such as like lupus or rheumatoid arthritis, it seems their chances of developing fibromyalgia are increasingly higher. They may be quite prone to developing fibromyalgia. This may be partly due to chronic pain itself, which causes the brain to become highly sensitized to not only things that hurt, but also to things that aren't normally painful. Although it's not exactly clear why, let's face it, they don't know much about this illness anyways. It's mostly speculative. Number 5. When I looked more into this and trying to understand how this is on a musculoskeletal system, I got it. What I found was that RSI, so repetitive strain injury, causes problems that affects the muscles, the tendons, joints, and nerves. Repetitive strain on these tissues can start to damage them, leading to symptoms of pain and a feeling of loss of strength. A serious injury can also lead to fibromyalgia, like a car accident, surgeries. In my case, I had surgeries. I've had a lot of chronic pain my whole life, so that's possible. That is what led to this. I mean, our minds are fragile, and if it gets damaged on a psychological level, then it's understandable how the impact would be stress related, and that stress has to go somewhere. Stress normally impacts your nervous system, generally how you process things. It has a physical response. I remember having a conversation with a colleague of mine a few years ago. She was specializing in how stress actually accumulates in the body in like a cellular level. It was fascinating. Stress builds up in the body cellularly. And if you don't exercise or do something to actively release that stress, your body is not able to like offload that stress. And as as a result, it gets trapped in the body. That is just like a nutshell of like the conversation we had, but it's fascinating. We do need to get rid of stress. In today's day and age, there's a lot more stresses. Life just seems unbearingly fast sometimes. Doesn't always seem like there's a lot of space for people to just take care of themselves properly. Anyways, that was just a very interesting conversation I had years ago. That's why I always say exercise is good for you. Doing mindfulness things, doing some self-care, it's worth it to take care of your psychological, emotional, physical health, because it's not just so that you don't get sick. Number 6 is physical or emotional trauma. Some cases of fibromyalgia can be triggered by exacerbated physical trauma, such as injuries, accidents, or emotional trauma like PTSD, because trauma triggers a series of responses that can affect the brain structures and like the neural pathways, changing the neurological synapses and potentially alter gene expression. Your brain rewires around the traumas that you are exposed to. As a result, that rewiring could mean that you're experiencing pain, physical pain, where normally it shouldn't be painful, just because of the way that your brain is now rewired. So it's a coping mechanism. Last but not least, infections. Certain infections have been associated with triggering fibromyalgia in some people. This is because of immune dysregulation, which is an amplification of pain signaling in the brain and in the spinal cord. Infections can also be physically and emotionally taxing, and as a result, you could potentially develop exacerbated fibromyalgia symptoms. So one day you're fine, and then the next day you just have an unexplainable amount of pain. Fibromyalgia is extremely complex, with likely multiple factors that could be contributing. And it manifests differently in different individuals. And if you suspect that you have fibromyalgia and you have some of the symptoms, it's very important to consult a healthcare professional that can offer you a proper analysis, potential diagnosis, and recommend the appropriate treatment. Just because you have fibromyalgia symptoms doesn't mean you should just discard it as fibromyalgia. I can only speak for myself when I say that I started to put all my symptoms together. I went to a doctor and I requested further investigation. That was when I was referred to a rheumatoid specialist. That was part of my journey to discovery and getting to grips with just how to live with it as best as I can. I hope today's video was informative, and in the next one, I'm going to be talking about sleep. Thank you so much for tuning in. I still have quite a few episodes to get through. I put a lot of research into these episodes because I want to make sure that they're in a nutshell, as condensed and informative as they possibly can be. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. Finishing out. Bye. Bye-bye. I'll see you guys in the next one. This is my channel. I'm just saying goodbye. I thought you weren't even supposed to be here.